Hello, I'm Jack and this is Entertainment World, and today I will be talking about the deleted Joker and Batman discussion scene in Arkham Asylum from the Batman. Now, before I get into all of that though, I am very sorry for how long this has taken. I have mentioned this video, or at least, making this video in several of my previous videos, but I never really got round to making this one, and for that I apologise, and I also apologise for how long several of my other videos have taken to make. It's just I took a break from this for a bit, but, as I said in my previous video, the Moon Knight Episode 5 discussion talk video, I'll be making these YouTube videos my biggest priority. So, thank you for that, thank you for patience and understanding, and I do hope you enjoy this video, as I will be getting into all of that now. So, this scene, I will recommend you watch it before watching this video, and obviously this video is late anyway, but I will still be saying spoiler warning for the Batman. And again, like I said, I recommend you actually watch the scene itself before you watch this video, the deleted scene that is. So anyway, this, as you may know, at the end of the Batman, it is hinted at that the Riddler has been put in Arkham Asylum and his cellmate is the Joker. He's never referred to as the Joker, and he never gives himself a name. In fact, when the Riddler asks, "Who are you?" he gives him a riddle, which means friend. So basically saying, "I'm a friend to you." And I personally liked that scene. I thought it was a bit of like the oh shit moment of the film towards the end, in terms of what they're setting up and what they're implying has happened already in this universe before the events of this film, in regards to the fact that Batman and Joker have clearly had some form of relationship, hero versus villain dynamic going on beforehand, or at least it's implied that, to which this deleted scene basically confirms. Anyway though, I enjoyed that scene that was in the film at the end, but I know a lot of other people didn't, because they said it felt shoehorned. They felt like it was sequel bait, like it sort of contradicted the rest of the film, or at least betrayed this sort of story set like, standalone setting, which, yes, of course, does set up other things, but it does it in a much more natural way, whereas the scene that was in the film, I must admit, did sort of feel a bit like an end credit scene in the film. Although, personally, I enjoyed it. Anyway, this scene, however, is not between Riddler and Joker, it's actually between Batman and the Joker. And it's Batman talking to Joker about the Riddler case, giving him the files, letting him read over it, getting his opinion, see if it can help him in the case in any way. Now, personally, I really, really, really enjoy that idea. I love the idea of the Joker being used that way in the film. I love this sort of Silence of the Lambs sort of dynamic, where Batman's going up to the Hannibal Lecter type character and giving him the files and asking him for his opinion, because Joker's never been used that way before in film. Yeah, it's a bit like that in the comics, especially, and the animated films, especially in Under the Red Hood. Joker has a role like that. But I love it actually being shown in film. I love the Hannibal Lecter dynamic, and how it sort of uses the Joker as this, yes, he's insane, but he's very intelligent, he's meticulous, he understands the mental state of other criminals, he understands their motives, because he's seen it all in a way. He's, like he says in The Dark Knight, "I'm not insane, I'm just ahead of the curve." Now, yeah, he is insane, but I love that sort of the way this film uses that. Or this scene anyway uses it. The film didn't end up using it, but I love what they were going for in the scene in regards to that. Now, I love Barry Keoghan as the Joker. I think, even though we've only got this scene as well as the scene with him in the film, so he's only, if you include this, he's got like 6 or 7 minutes of screen time as the character. However, I really enjoy his performance. It feels very sadistic, very sort of sickly, very creepy. You can see how he would get under your skin. I love his little giggly type laugh, which then becomes the more hysterical sort of crazy person laugh. I believe it. It doesn't feel exaggerated. It doesn't feel too comical. His eerie, creepy laugh works. I love his voice. His sort of like, he sort of sounds a bit like a really creepy old lady in a way. He sort of gives it that sort of like he's trying to be sort of sweet in a way, but it comes across as terrifying, and it's intentional, but it comes across as terrifying. But it has this like sort of false, sickly sweetness to it, and I really like that. I love that aspect, and I love how playful he is. Like when he's going, "Oh, he makes you look soft," and then he starts giggling. I fucking love that.
Oh, you're afraid he makes you look soft.
I love his voice. I love the little giggly laugh and how it turns into the more hysterical type laugh. And the look as well, obviously. That's important. Holy fucking shit, does this guy look scary. He looks horrific. He's got a really... I don't want to say deformed in a bad way, but it's clearly his face has had some things done to it. Now, Matt Reeves has said he has skin disease, which... I mean... Yeah, but at the same time, he also looks like his mouth looks like it's been cut and sewn up, but like he's done it himself. He looks like he's got big cuts on the back of his head where he's also done the surgery himself. Oh, and keep in mind, he's not a surgeon. That's that sort of surgery. It's the kind of surgery somebody would do to themselves when they're not a surgeon. Also, don't give a shit about how fucking terrible of a job they've done. He looks scary. His eyes are fucking wild as shit, and I love that. That is really one of the like standouts of this version of the Joker in terms of appearance. It's just how fucking big his eyes are and how wild they look and how sort of intense they are at staring. His teeth are disgusting. The way he uses his tongue is also a bit creepy. But yeah, and the smile look, he just looks really terrifying as the Joker. He looks demonic in a way, and I love that. I love how this film uses its scary elements, its more horror film-like setting, and how the whole... Obviously, I know this scene didn't end up being used, but if you had put it in the film, it would have suited how this world feels and what this film's going for and the creepy side of it. I love how that was applied to Joker and just how fucking terrifying he looks. You know, if he was a main villain in a sequel to this film, it would probably be an R rating just because of the way he looks and behaves. Now, I'll get onto that. Maybe that's why it wasn't in the film. You know, maybe they didn't want it to be an R rating. I don't know. But anyway, well, they didn't want it to be an R rating, but I don't know if that's why they didn't want it to be in the film specifically. But So I love his look, I love his voice, I love his laugh, and what he's saying is also great. You know, he reads over the Riddler case, and he's talking about how it seems personal, how everything his victims seem, like it's a personal reason. He feels like he's wronged them, and he's killing them out for revenge and trying to send a message. And I love how he goes, I know who he is. He's a nobody, trying to be a somebody.
I know who he is. Who is he? He's a nobody. Wants to be somebody. The mayor, the commissioner. He's got ambition.
You think his motive is political?
Oh, no. This is very, very personal. He feels these people have all wronged him. Probably goes way back. Unhealed wounds, stolen lunch money.
I love that, like how he's basically saying he's a nobody, he's been downtrodden, he views these people as part of the problem, and he's killing them and sending a message trying to make himself, into the spotlight. I love that because if you watch the film, you know that's true in many ways. And I love when Batman asks him, why is he writing to me? Maybe because he's a fan. Also, if you watch the film, you know that ended up being true.
Why is he writing to me?
Maybe he's a fan of yours? Or maybe he's got a grudge against you too. Maybe you're the main course. And Any theories?
And then the Joker twists it back onto Batman, saying, "Why are you interested? Let's talk about you." And I love the bit where he goes, "You're usually so ahead of the curve," which is, of course, the reference I feel like is a reference. Well, I say it might be obvious it's a reference. I don't know if that's what they're going for, but I think it's obvious to many people that it was a reference to The Dark Knight when, as already mentioned, Joker says, "I'm not a monster." Oh no, sorry, yeah, I said I'm not. Sorry. In the film, he says, "I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve." I love that. That is sort of like a bit of reference to that. But he's putting it. But in this film, they're putting it, or at least the scene, they're putting it back on Batman. And I love how he's just more interested in Batman. Like, why are you interested in this? Why do you care? Does he worried he makes you look soft? He's like you. He's a masked Avenger, except from he's far more brutal. I love that. And when Batman gets angry and leaves, you can tell it's because he says, "You're wasting my time." It's not because he's wasting his time, which is why he's leaving like that. It's because he doesn't like how the Joker's getting under his skin.
Any theories?
Not yet.
Really? You're normally so ahead of the curve. But something is different this time. This is very upsetting to you.
Let's get back to him.
Why? You're so much more
I'm
fun.
not here to talk about me.
What are you here to talk about?
I want to know how he thinks.
You know exactly how he thinks. Have you read this file? You two have so much in common. Masked Avengers. So he's even more righteous. Are you afraid he makes you look soft?
You're wasting my time.
Personally, I think that's great, and I love how he's like, "You think they deserved it," and he's taunting him as he's leaving, and Batman stays for a few seconds just to listen to it, because he knows he's right.
I'll tell you what I really think. I think you don't really care about his motives, whether he loves or hates you. I think somewhere deep down, you're just terrified. Because you're not sure he's wrong, huh? You think they deserved it, huh? You think they deserved it.
I just love that whole scene. I love, like I said, Barry Keoghan's great, the design's great. Rob Pattinson, although he's certainly not the spotlight of this scene, because this scene's clearly more focused towards the Joker in terms of who they're shedding the most light on here. However, he is good. You can see that his Batman, the Batman in this scene, does not like Joker. He clearly has had experience with him, including at this first start when, the Joker goes, "Oh, it's our first anniversary paper." And he says, "Well, you think I get off on this, don't you?" And Batman just goes, "Don't you?"
Present. Almost our anniversary, isn't it?
There's a serial killer. I want your perspective.
First anniversary paper. What makes you think I come so cheap?
I thought you'd be curious.
You think I could offer this stuff?
Don't you?
So he clearly does not have a high opinion on Joker here. They've clearly had a history of some description, and it clearly is not good. Clearly is not good. So I like that. I think that was brilliant. I love how, like I said, Robert Pattinson, sorry, has got this like demeanour of just somebody who wants to punch the glass and kill this guy, but obviously he has got the restraint to not do that. So obviously that was great. And again, as I said, mentioned, Barry Keoghan was great, and he plays a really good Joker who's really creepy, really sickly, he really get under your skin. And I feel like this this version of the Joker would be really, really good at getting under this version of Batman's skin. I think he would be really good at that. And obviously, when it comes to the whole Batman Joker side of your franchise, that is something you need to nail and you need to do it really well. And this film did that, or at least the scene did it. So I will keep wanting to say this film, but it didn't end up being in the film. However, the scene and the film, both the film and the scene were both great. However, this scene captures a great dynamic between Batman and Joker just in this scene alone. So it would be cool to see more of that fleshed out, in a, full film. Now, the question is, do I think this should have been in the film or not? And the answer to that is yes, I do. Now, I don't know when in the film it would have been, and there probably would have had to be other scenes, or at least extended scenes, to make it flow well. Like, it couldn't just, at least I don't think it would easily cut to this, and then just cut to something else, and just feel like it's just been shoved in. I feel like there'd have to be at least another scene leading up to this, and maybe even one afterwards to flow into something else, or even at the very least there has to have probably been a scene which was extended mentioning Batman either having gone to this, or going to this, or both. So, I don't know. Personally, if it was me, I feel like it would be if it was me, and I was told to put it somewhere, I would go after Alfred was killed, because, the Riddler tried to kill Alfred, he didn't kill Alfred, after the Riddler tried to kill Alfred, and maybe that's why Batman then goes to him and didn't go beforehand, because he didn't really want to go to Joker, I don't know. I would have personally tried to incorporate this Joker into why Gordon and Batman have a good relationship. Maybe they work together so well, and maybe Gordon trusts him because Batman brought this guy in. I don't know, because he's not actually mentioned between Batman and Gordon in the film at all. I don't know if he would have been had they kept this scene in, but I feel in my head canon that is why Batman and Gordon work together, is because Batman is the guy who brought this fucking psycho in, and when he clearly has done a lot of bad shit for Batman to be pretty sure that he gets off pictures of dead people and horrific murders with the motives. So he clearly has had history with him, and like I said, it clearly would not have been good. So that's my headcanon, that why Gordon and Batman have a good relationship. Maybe they brought him down together and that was one of the first things they worked on. As the Joker mentions in this scene, it's almost their anniversary, and I'm guessing that's between when Batman put him in there, not when they first met, I don't know, but I think of it as when Batman put him in Arkham Asylum. It's been almost a year since then. Because obviously Batman in this film has been Batman for 2 years, so he clearly did quite a few things in these 2 years. And another reason why I would have kept it in is because it expands on the world that I lived in. It gives Batman more of a backstory. It shows he's had interactions with more of his rogues gallery, his villains, and as I said, it shows why he's got a good relationship with Gordon and has support with some of the police at the very least. And another reason why I kept it in, as mentioned earlier, I love the fact that this scene uses Joker as a Hannibal Lecter type character. That has not been done in live action before, and I think there would have been a great new way to incorporate the character into this film without it feeling shoved in, or you got to have the Joker in it sort of like franchise IP sort of way. I think in terms of a way to get the Joker in the film without it feeling rushed, this was a good way to do it. And ironically, cutting him out made the very last scene at the end with him and Riddler, well, it wasn't the very last scene of the film, but the last scene with Riddler did feel more shoehorned and shoved in because he did not have this in the film. Matt Reeves cut this out, and he had a couple reasons. His main reason, I believe, was because he said it repeats the same ground, which it does a little bit, and that's fair. And I guess the other reason is because Joker basically perfectly just deduces what Riddler's motives are, why he's doing it, and even that he's a fan of Batman. So he perfectly introduces that, and I'm guessing they might have wanted to cut that out because it makes Joker look like a better detective than Batman, and he basically perfectly solved the motives and the reasons and the everything, whilst Batman's there having to ask him questions. So maybe that's another reason they cut it out, and that would have been fair enough. And of course, as I mentioned, maybe it would have affected the age rating, just because how fucking creepy this motherfucker looks in this film. I don't know, but there's several reasons to why. However, I would have kept it in, because it would have made the scene at the end feel less jarred, as well as the fact that it would show that Joker knows who Riddler is, knows what his motives for doing what he did were, and having seen that Batman's affected by Riddler, so that would have made his conversation at the end of the Batman feel more earned, and when he's trying to manipulate the Riddler into working for him, which is what is implied at the end of the film, it would have shown that he knows how to do that because he knows who he is already. So, personally, if it was me, I would have kept it in. I don't know what else he would have had to have kept in, if there was anything else he cut to make this scene work. However, I do think it would have been worth keeping in. Like I said, made this scene at the end feel less shoehorned, made the Joker's interaction with Riddler seem more like part of the story and more genuine to the film, and he knows what he's doing and how to do it when it comes to manipulating this character with the Riddler. And personally, I just love the scene and would have loved to have seen it in the film. And when it was released on media, I was a bit disappointed it wasn't put into the film, because when it came, the scene was released between the film being in cinemas and it coming out on home media and streaming and digital copies and things like that. And it got a lot of positive response, with the main consensus being they should have put it in the film. And I'm just a bit disappointed that he didn't. I know he loved to say the Batman was his cut and the way he wanted to make it, and I respect that, and I completely, that's 110% fine, and the film is great as it is. This scene doesn't make a bad film good, it just makes what is already a great film, in my opinion, just a little bit a little bit better. So, I think he should have put it in, but that's fair. He chose not to, and that's fair. I trust Matt Reeves, but another little reason why I put it in is because if it was me and I was building, and I don't want to do a trilogy, although personally I would like this to go on a little bit more than a trilogy. I like the story they're setting up here, and I'd like to see it expanded upon even more than just another 1, 2, 3 film. I would love it if Joker was in every film of this franchise, just as there's something in the shadows, and then it can all build up to the last film, or the third act of the last film in this franchise, be it the third film, the fourth film, the fifth film, the sixth film, or whatever, and it being like a Under the Red Hood thing, or something else that Matt Reeves wanted to do, and it's all built up to this very personal Batman Joker moment, as Joker's been in the shadows this whole time, or maybe even more than just in the shadows, maybe he's actually been a secondary villain to the main villain, I don't know, or whatever, but I think it would be so cool to actually have the Joker just as this constant little presence in this franchise, they're just lurking in the background. And I know that with the film itself, they've already sort of established that as a possibility, because he still is in the film, just in one little scene at the end. I still would have liked this scene in it to expand upon that and gave him a little bit more to do and make his presence in the film still, even though just being this little thing in the shadows, still feel more natural to the story that was being told, and maybe fleshing out Batman's backstory a little bit in terms of what he's done since becoming Batman. I just personally think it would have been a good idea to keep this scene in the film. Overall, as a scene, I've never given a single scene a score out of 10, so this one has the honour of being that. I give this scene as, directing, writing, acting and costume design and look. I give this scene as a quality out of 10, 9 out of 10. Entertainment value is 9.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this scene overall. And as I mentioned, the writing was just great. I love how it shows the dynamic between the two characters. I love how it just gives us little hints of what the relationship between Batman and Joker is here. And overall, I know we all know what the relationship between Batman and Joker is. I just like it showing the things which make this versions of the characters in this universe, their dynamic a little bit. I like seeing what makes this version unique, and it does give us a little bit of that, and I did enjoy it, and I do think it would have made served the film better had he kept it in the film overall. I respect that he didn't, but that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, guys, what did you think of the scene? I would like to actually know, so please do comment if you've watched it, what you thought of it, what you thought of the design for the character, what you thought for the, the acting by Barry Keoghan, what you thought of how he was deducing what the Riddler was doing, everything. I would like to know your opinion, with the main bit being, should Matt Reeves have left this in the film, or was he right in removing it? I'm interested in knowing. And one thing I forgot to mention was I also liked his hair, how it was just this ripped up green mess without any style to it. It was just what like a psycho's hair would probably look like, who's got problems with his skin. And I don't know if this version fell in the chemicals, but even if he hadn't, it still, like, his hair is just, obviously if he had, it would explain why his hair's in the state that it is, but even if he hadn't, I just love how it's like this insane sort of just ripped apart mess, and with the iconic Joker green, that was brilliant. But yeah, so yeah, let me know. I love this scene personally, and I wish it was in the film, and even though it's not, I still like to occasionally just watch it by itself. I think it is quite a fun scene. And of course, it's Batman and Joker, and I do love the dynamic here. Even though we only saw a bit of it, I think it was great. And I want to see more of this version of Batman and Joker in the future, sequels to the Batman, and any other way they expand upon this universe, be it television or comic books. So yes, or even another book, because this film did have a prequel book. So whatever way they want to expand upon it, even if it's a mix of a few things or even everything, I want it, and I love it, and I love everything about this Joker, and I think it really nails the creepy universe he lives in, and I like this. They had the balls to give him a really horrific look. So yeah, love it. Thank you guys for watching this video. I enjoyed making it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. And I am interested in knowing what your opinions are regarding this. I've got a few more videos coming out soon, including a video talking about Morbius and the whole thing with the Sony universe there. I know that's a very late video, and I'm sorry about that, but I hope you guys do watch it when it's uploaded. And again, very late, but it's giving me a lot more time to think about it, a spoiler review talking in detail about my opinions on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, as well as my Moon Knight episode 6 video. So yeah, again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in my next one, as well as the fact, please, if you did enjoy this, please also go and check some of my older videos out as well. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in my next video, and goodbye.